first things first, I suppose, how's the skipper?
Yeah, that's by far the most important thing. I think that he left early in the last quarter to go to hospital to get a scan, but it's very rare that the medical staff are so certain about an injury. Even when they're 90% sure, they wait to get confirmation, but they're confident it's a ruptured Achilles tendon, so it's you're looking at anything around the 12-month mark for that sort of injury. So it's really disappointing for everyone associated with our club and footy fans in general.
Obviously a massive loss, not only the on-field presence in the midfield, but as a leader.
Yeah, well, I don't think we'll lose that off-field. I mean, his work off-field as a young captain's been fantastic this year during some pretty challenging times. So he's developed a lot off the field, and he'll get an opportunity to continue in that capacity off-field. And it's going to test what we've been trying to build over the last 3 or 4 years in the midfield, and some midfield leadership and some midfield coverage. And I was really pleased that Ben Cunnington stepped into the breach really well today. So, had one of his best games for the club, and I suppose justified why we've been, talking him up all these years, and so confident that he was going to be a really good player for us. Yeah. No, he rarely misses, and arguably, could have missed a couple because he's very resilient as well, and he's played through the last month or so, he's played through some things that most other players would have missed with. So he's very resilient, and yeah, so it takes an injury like this to keep him out, unfortunately.
With Swallow, did he describe what happened? Was it sort of the hallmarks of what tends to happen, looking around to see if someone killed him? What happened?
Unfortunately, I haven't spoken to him yet because he took off for hospital while the game was still going, so I couldn't speak to him. But yeah, I haven't looked at the incident in detail, but obviously he doesn't fall over like that in space by himself too often. So yeah, it's just unfortunate, but we'll have to have a really good look at the nature of the injury and just how it happened to help guide the treatment. But if it's a fully ruptured Achilles tendon, then there's not too many options.
Do you think the injury itself could have anything to do with the playing surface?
I'm not really in a position to comment on that. I'm not a turf expert. So look, I think when the AFL take over the stadium, I think it will be a football ground, and I think there are concerns that I'm always worried when I see concerts here because I see it as a footy ground. But I mean, I think that Etihad have done a remarkable job keeping the surface in great condition all year. We love playing here, so we've got no concerns. But I'm sure the experts will have a look at that and try to minimise and mitigate injuries in the future.
I suppose injury aside, Brad must have been rapid with the performance, particularly the second half.
Yeah, the last 3 quarters I think were better. The first, I was a little bit concerned. I thought we were going away from some of the things that we want to do as a team, and taking a few liberties, and that's not the way good sides play, and that's what we aspire to be. So I think we rectified most of that in the second quarter, and then the second half was really good. But we're going to come up against some really good teams on the run home, and we've got to keep building on the style of play we want to play.
Todd Goldstein was really impressive today.
Yeah, great bounce back from Goldie after I thought he was pretty comprehensively beaten by Cruiser last week. So he's a proud competitor and ran hard and looked pretty good in all facets of the game. Got his hand to the ball in just about every ruck contest. So and Gawn's a 208 centimetre big ruckman, and he's had a pretty good year, Gawn. So for Goldie to have that performance against him was really pleasing.
Did you change his preparation at all? Like I know before last week you mentioned sort of feeling a little bit tired.
Yeah, we had a discussion about that because Goldie is a real competitor. He knows that he plays his best footy when he shoulders the majority of the load in the ruck, and he's played that way all year. I still maintain that I think he's been beaten once this year. So I consider him. We'll certainly push. We nominate our players for All-Australian consideration, and Todd will certainly be pushed for All-Australian consideration as a ruckman. So I think the way he's played all year has been pretty effective. But he is a competitor, and I think he's got to, when he starts to assert himself on games more, as it can take young ruckmen a bit of time to do, I think he's going to be a really dominant player.
Did you change the mix of his time, sort of ruck versus forward at all
We did, but not through really need to give him a rest, but to try and change the dynamic a little bit. We think that I thought Frawley was holding Petrie pretty well early, so we'd like to get Drew up the ground and get him moving around. And I thought Goldie could be a threat forward. Aaron Black shows great potential as a mobile ruckman, pinch hitting ruckman. So we just wanted to have a look at those different combinations, and we know that Majak Dor and Dan Curry add another dimension to that too. So every week we're looking at that really closely, and we'll continue to pick the team that's going to give us the best chance of winning each week.
Brad, I know Jack Siebel ran out of the game, but how did he pull up? He took some pretty heavy knocks in the first half.
Yeah, you've always got your heart in your mouth because he's such a bullet a gate competitor inside, but he got a knock. He came off for 3 or 4 minutes and was fine after that.
I know it's very early phase and things, but I guess Jack Siebel would be one of the names put forward to sort of take over the sort of mantle of captaincy as well.
Yeah, look, he's vice captain. I think Drew Petrie's the vice captain as well. So I mean, Drew is someone who I think is so important to our football club, and all the players look up to him. So between Jack and Drew, I'm sure they'll both step up. But certainly in the midfield, Ben Jacobs was an emergency today. We've got a lot of emerging midfielders that we're keen to get into the side. So I think we've certainly got the players on a list to cover it, but now it's up to them to come in and take their opportunity.
Would Jack and Drew be co-captains of Red, or will you elevate one of them?
I haven't really thought about it, Nick. I haven't given it enough thought to comment. But certainly over the next couple of days, we'll have a discussion about it as a match committee and speak to the two boys and work out the best way forward. Thanks, guys.